There's a thief who visits your house every single night. He doesn't break windows. He doesn't trip alarms. He leaves no fingerprints, takes nothing you can see, and he has never once been caught. He doesn't steal your money. He steals what your money can do. Here's his work. Measured. Take $10,000 in cash. Hide it somewhere perfectly safe. A vault, a mattress, a locked drawer. Guard it for 30 years. Open the drawer, and you'll find $10,000 that now buys what $4,100 used to buy. Nothing was taken. Every bill is still there. And yet, more than half of it is gone. That thief is inflation. And in the next 10 minutes, I'll show you exactly how he works, why you never feel him working, why playing it safe is his favorite trick, and the only mathematically proven way anyone has ever escaped him. Let's get one thing straight, because almost everyone pictures inflation wrong. Your money doesn't shrink. The world gets more expensive around it. Picture a grocery cart. 30 years ago, $100 filled it. Today, that same 100 fills maybe half. Same bill. Same numbers printed on it. The cart just quietly emptied itself, 1 or 2% a year, too slowly for any single trip to feel different. At the long-term average of about 3% per year, here's the brutal arithmetic. Something that costs $100 today will cost around $243 in 30 years. Not because anyone got greedy in one dramatic moment, just 3% compounding, the same silent engine that builds wealth in your investments, running in reverse against your cash. Compound interest has an evil twin, and the evil twin never takes a year off. Here's a mental shortcut that will change how you see every dollar you own. It's called the Rule of 72. Divide 72 by the inflation rate, and you get the number of years it takes for prices to double. 72 divided by 3 is 24. At normal, boring, healthy inflation, prices double roughly every 24 years, which means the reverse is also true. Every 24 years, cash loses half its power. Scientists have a word for this: half-life. Radioactive elements decay by half on a fixed schedule. And so, it turns out, does your money. Think about what that means across one lifetime. Money you set aside at 25 has halved by 50, and halved again by your mid-70s. The retirement cash of a careful young saver arrives at old age with a quarter of its strength. Your money has an expiration process. Nobody printed it on the bill. Now here's where the thief gets clever, because his greatest trick is wearing a disguise. And the disguise is the word safe. Cash in a drawer feels safe. A savings account feels responsible. The balance never goes down. The number only ever grows. Zero volatility, zero scary red days, everything your instincts want. Run the actual math. A typical savings account pays around 0.5%. Inflation takes 3. Net result, minus 2.5%. Every year, guaranteed, no exceptions. Read that carefully, because it rewires the whole idea of risk. The stock market might lose money in any given year. The savings account definitely loses purchasing power in every year. One is a coin flip that lands in your favor 3 times out of 4. The other is a certainty, dressed up as caution. The safest feeling place for your money is the only place where losing is mathematically guaranteed. So, why doesn't anyone panic? A thief taking 3% of everyone's purchasing power every year, forever. That should be front-page news daily. It isn't, because he's engineered to be unfeelable. 3% means the coffee that costs $3 in January costs $3.09 in December. 9 cents. Your brain doesn't even file it. Then there's his accomplice, shrinkflation. The price stays identical. The chip bag just quietly loses a handful of chips. Same number on the shelf, smaller product in your hand. The theft happens inside the packaging. And his masterpiece, the salary illusion. You get a 4% raise and feel like you're winning. Inflation was 3. Your real raise, the only kind that buys anything, was 1%. Half the workforce celebrates raises that barely outrun the thief, and some celebrate raises that don't. He doesn't hide from you. He hides inside the numbers you celebrate. This is the moment to permanently upgrade one word in your vocabulary: risk. Most people define risk as, my number might go down. That's why they fear stocks and trust cash. But watch what happens when you define it properly. Risk is the chance you can't buy what you need later. Under the old definition, cash is the hero and the market is the villain. Under the real definition, they swap costumes. Over any long stretch, diversified stocks have beaten inflation in the overwhelming majority of decades, while cash has lost to it in virtually all of them. Volatility is the price of admission. Erosion is the price of hiding. Short term. Your emergency fund, next year's expenses. Cash is exactly right. The thief can't do real damage in a year or two, but money with a decade or more on the clock. Leaving it in cash isn't caution. It's a donation. So how do you actually beat a thief who can't be arrested? You can't stop him. You can only outrun him. And there's exactly one proven vehicle: owning things that grow faster than prices do. Businesses raise their prices with inflation. That's partly what inflation is. So when you own a slice of hundreds of businesses through a boring index fund, inflation stops being your enemy's weapon and becomes partially your engine. The long-term math. The market returns roughly 10% a year on average. Subtract the thief's 3. What's left is about 7% real. Growth in actual purchasing power, the only kind of growth that matters. 7% real still doubles your money's true power every decade. The machine from our previous episodes doesn't just work despite inflation. It's the only machine that works because it's built from the same businesses doing the inflating. You can't hide from the thief. But you can own the streets he works on. Now for the uncomfortable part, because this channel owes you a correction. Last episode, we celebrated a finish line. $500 a month for 30 years becomes $1.13 million. That number is true. It's also not the whole truth. 1.13 million arriving 30 years from now will feel like about 610,000 feels today. Still life-changing. Still worth every boring deposit. But almost half the headline number is the thief's share. Already spoken for. Here's why I'm telling you this instead of hiding it. Every financial fantasy you've ever had, the $1 million milestone, the retirement number, the I made it moment, needs to be priced in real dollars, or you're planning your future with counterfeit money. The good news, the math still massively favors you. 7% real, compounding for decades, beats the thief by miles. You just needed to know his cut before he took it. Quick honesty break. You know the drill. First, 3% is the long-term average. Real-life spikes. Some recent years hit 8, 9%, and entire decades like the 70s ran hot. Averages smooth out storms that felt anything but smooth. Second, the official inflation number is one basket of goods. Your inflation is different. If your life is heavy on rent, healthcare, or education, your personal thief probably takes more than 3. Third, stocks don't beat inflation every single year. They lose to it plenty of times in the short run. The escape only works on long clocks, which is exactly why your emergency fund still belongs in boring cash, thief and all. The principle survives every caveat. Over decades, cash reliably loses to inflation, and productive assets reliably beat it. The details wobble, the direction doesn't. So here's the strangest fact about the greatest thief in economic history. He's legal, he's permanent, and he's already in your house. You can't report him. You can't wait him out. Every year you spend deciding, he takes his 3%. from your savings, your salary, and every plan you priced in today's dollars. Which means doing nothing was never the neutral option. It was always a choice, a slow, polite, guaranteed loss dressed up as safety. The entire series so far has been building one machine. Start early, climb the levels, survive the boring first stretch, stop watching it work. Today you learned why the machine isn't optional. It's not just how wealth is built. It's the only shelter that exists. If you haven't seen how the machine turns on, the 100K video is next. The thief visits tonight either way. Make sure he leaves empty-handed.